Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking what usually looks like boring textbook math and turning it into your everyday survival toolkit. We're getting into ratios, rates, and proportions. Now you might be wondering, why on earth did I need to care about this? Well, I'm going to show you exactly why. Because honestly, these aren't just abstract numbers floating around on a whiteboard. They're the invisible rules governing how we share things, how we shop, and how we build. By the end of this explainer, you're going to have a crystal clear understanding of how to actually use these tools to your advantage.
So picture this. You're hanging out with your friends, you all chip in, and you order 2 absolutely delicious pizzas. But the moment those boxes open, chaos ensues. One person magically ends up with 3 slices, and you're left sitting there staring at just 1. Is that fair? No way. That, my friends, is a fundamental ratio fail. It's the ultimate pizza betrayal, and it literally happens because we sometimes just lose track of how things are supposed to be divided up relative to one another. So today, we're going to make sure you never get ripped off on pizza, or really anything else, ever again.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. We're heading 5 stops. First, ratios, the comparison game. Second, rates, comparing different units. Third, proportions, 2 equal ratios. Fourth, direct versus inverse proportions. And finally, number 5, the ultimate math challenge.
Okay, let's dive right into section 1, ratios, the comparison game.
So a ratio is really just a comparison of 2 or more quantities. But, and this is absolutely crucial, they have to be of the exact same unit. We're talking about a part-to-part relationship or a part-to-whole relationship. Think about comparing slices of pizza to slices of pizza, or students to students. If you can remember that ratios just show how much of one thing there is compared to another thing of the exact same type, well, you've pretty much unlocked the whole concept.
Let's walk through exactly how this works in practice. Imagine you've got a class of 25 students, and the ratio of boys to girls is 3 to 2. So how do we figure out exactly how many boys there are? We just follow the logic. Step 1, add the parts of the ratio together. So 3 plus 2 equals 5 total parts. You can kind of imagine splitting the whole class into 5 equal blocks. Step 2, find the value of just one of those blocks. 25 students divided by 5 parts means there are 5 students in every single part. And finally, step 3, multiply for the boys. The ratio told us the boys represent 3 of those parts. So 3 parts multiplied by 5 students per part gives us 15 boys. You can even double check your work here. The girls would be 2 parts times 5, which is 10. 15 plus 10 gets us right back perfectly to our 25 students. Boom. Moving right along to section 2, rates, comparing different units.
Now, this is where we escalate things a bit. If ratios compare the same units, rates compare completely different ones. Think of things like kilometers per hour, words per minute, or price per kilogram. The classic formula for speed is a perfect example of a rate. That's distance divided by time. Say a car travels 240 kilometers in 3 hours. We just divide 240 by 3, and our rate is 80 kilometers per hour. We're literally taking distance and time to create a brand new measurement.
But let's apply this to something we all face, a real-world grocery store showdown. This is where unit rates come in handy, which basically means finding the cost per one single unit of something. Let's say you need cheese. Option 1 is 500 grams for 30 rands. Option 2 is this massive bulk block of 1.2 kilograms for 72 rands. Your brain is probably screaming that the bulk option is the better deal, right? Well, to actually find out, we need to calculate the unit rate for both. Let's figure out the price per 1 full kilogram. For option 1, we divide 30 rands by 0.5 kilograms. For option 2, we divide 72 rands by 1.2 kilograms.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the shocking result. If you actually do the math, both of those calculations come out to exactly 60 rands per kilogram. Option 1, 60 rands per kilogram. Option 2, 60 rands per kilogram. They are exactly the same price. There is literally no difference in value. By just using a simple rate calculation, you just saved yourself from buying a giant block of cheese you didn't even need, just because you assumed it was a better deal.
All right, let's head into section 3, proportions, 2 equal ratios.
Let's move transition into proportions here. A proportion is essentially just a fancy way of saying that 2 ratios are perfectly equal to each other. Let's say 3 apples cost 12 rands, and you want to know how much 7 apples cost. We just set up a proportion. 3 apples over 12 rands equals 7 apples over x. And to solve this, we use a beautiful little trick called cross multiplication. We multiply diagonally, so 3 times x equals 12 times 7. That gives us 3x equals 84. Divide both sides by 3, and x equals 28 rands. Now, as a quick real-life check, 28 rands for 7 apples feels maybe a little expensive, but rest assured the math works out perfectly.
Now for Section 4, direct versus inverse proportions.
This right here brings us to the real mechanics of the explainer. I've got to warn you, this is the game changer, and it's exactly where most people slip up when they're trying to solve everyday problems. The absolute crucial point here is understanding the fundamental difference in their mechanics. Direct proportion simply means more of one thing equals more of the other. Like, the more hours you work, the more pay you get. Inverse proportion, though, is the exact opposite. More of one thing equals less of the other. For instance, the more workers you have on a job, the less time it's going to take to finish it.
Let's look at direct proportion first. Say a car uses 5 liters of fuel to go 60 kilometers. How much fuel do you need for 180 kilometers? Well, because driving more distance directly demands more fuel, this is a direct proportion. 180 kilometers is exactly 3 times further than 60 kilometers. Since it's direct, we just multiply the fuel by 3 as well. 3 times 5 liters equals 15 liters of fuel. It's simple, it's logical, and it scales perfectly.
And this brilliantly illustrates the contrast when we switch over to inverse proportion. Imagine 4 workers can paint a house in 6 days. How long will it take 8 workers? Well, if you use direct proportion here, you'd multiply the days, which makes absolutely no sense. Adding more people shouldn't make the job take longer. Instead, we multiply the workers by the days to find a constant. 4 workers times 6 days equals 24 worker days total to finish painting that house. If you now have 8 workers, you divide that 24 worker days constant by 8. So it's going to take them 3 days. More workers, fewer days.
Actually, I want to pause for a second and aggressively call out a really common trap. People get so excited about inverse proportions that they start applying them where they totally don't belong. They see something like 2 painters take 8 hours, 4 painters take 4 hours, which is totally correct, doubling one halves the other. But then they look at pizzas, 100 rands for 2 pizzas, so how much for 4 pizzas? And they try to halve the price. No, if you double the pizzas, you double the price. It's direct. Seriously, don't mix up your logic when your dinner is on the line.
All right, let's see how this builds into a multivariable scenario, like scaling a recipe to its absolute maximum potential. Say a recipe for 6 muffins needs 2 eggs, 150 grams of flour, and 1.5 cups of milk. But you've got 5 eggs in your fridge and you want to make as many muffins as physically possible. Step 1, find your limit. If 6 muffins need 2 eggs, that means 1 egg makes 3 muffins. With your 5 eggs, you can make a maximum of 15 muffins, so eggs are your limiting factor. Now for steps 2 and 3, we scale the other ingredients directly to those 15 muffins. We take our 150 grams of flour, divide by 6 to get the per muffin unit rate, and then multiply by 15 to get 375 grams. We do the exact same direct proportion for the milk. 1.5 cups divided by 6 times 15 equals 3.75 cups of milk. Look at that, you've just mathematically optimized your baking.
Which brings us to Section 5, the ultimate math challenge.
All right, it's time to break the fourth wall here. This is the interactive boss battle of this explainer. Here's your challenge. A farmer has enough feed for 12 cows for 15 days. After 5 days pass, he buys 3 more cows. How many more days will the remaining feed last? I want you to literally hit pause on this explainer right now, grab a piece of paper, and see if you can solve this using the exact tools we just built. Go ahead, I'll be right here when you hit play.
Okay, welcome back. Let's resolve this step by step. This is an inverse proportion problem mixed with a timeline. Step 1, find the constant. 12 cows times 15 days means the farmer has a total of 180 cow days of feed. You can think of a cow day as just 1 unit of food for 1 cow for 1 day. Step 2, 5 days pass. So, 12 cows eating for 5 days uses up 60 cow days of feed. Step 3, subtract that from the total. 180 minus 60 leaves 120 cow days of feed remaining. Step 4, the farmer buys 3 more cows, bringing the total herd up to 15 cows. And finally, step 5, we divide the remaining 120 cow days of feed by our new total of 15 cows. The remaining feed will last exactly 8 days. If you got that right, congratulations, you have officially mastered proportions.
And there you have it. Ratios, rates, and proportions aren't just abstract, boring concepts. They are exactly how you compare grocery deals, scale up a recipe properly, organize a workforce, and, most importantly, avert pizza betrayal. You now have the toolkit. Next time on The Explainer, we're diving into percentages, and I'm going to show you exactly why that massive 50% off sales sign in the window sometimes means absolutely nothing. Until then, ask yourself, how many times have you been tricked into thinking you got a good deal? Keep learning, stay focused, and I'll catch you in the next one.